Hey guys, Garrett McLaughlin here, and in the exercise of the week this week, I want to cover the calf raise and show you a progression of the calf raise from a deficit. So calf raise is a very simple and traditional exercise that we're working on building calf strength and endurance. Fairly easy exercise for a lot of people. I don't see a lot of people that struggle here unless they have anything more significant going on, like a calf tear, Achilles tendinopathy, post-tib tendinopathy, plantar fasciitis. Those kinds of things, those types of injuries make this a lot more challenging, but this is a good starting point for most people just to progressively load the calf, the foot, and the ankle, because we want good strength and resilience in that area, especially if we're running, because there's a lot of stress going through that area at all times. So just to show you, I'm going to kind of put myself right here at this point. I always like to start against a wall. It allows me to adopt a slight forward lean. I'm going to keep the knees straight, good alignment of the feet, and then at all times, keep pressure. I can feel my ball of the foot in contact with the floor at all times. Sometimes people are going overly high, lifting, and you can see the ball of the foot coming off the ground. Keep the toes and the ball of the foot off the ground, and you want to extend and lift through the rest of the foot. Slow, controlled on the way down, good range of motion. I can feel contact, all of my toes in the ground. Sometimes you'll see people overly shifting one way or the other. I'm just going to control my range of motion, get up as high as I can. Control on the way down. So I want good range of motion as I go through this, because what I typically see when people start to progress to some of the single leg variations, single leg calf raises specifically, is they start to really lose range of motion. So I want to develop that as much as possible right now, get good strength throughout the entire range of motion, good control on the way down eccentrically, because that will carry over very well as I get into some of the harder single leg variations. Okay, so that's the calf raise. In terms of that exercise, repetitions can vary greatly, anywhere from 10 to maybe 30 repetitions. It can be a fairly easy exercise for a lot of people. You're going to start to feel a burn through it, but because you're on two legs, you can push through that pretty well. In time, we want to progress that. So doing something like a calf raise from a deficit. Now, instead of increasing we're not really changing the exercise much, but we're introducing a little bit more range of motion into the mix. As I stand on a platform, on a plate, on a 2x4, on a textbook, doesn't matter, anything just to elevate the ball of the foot. I stare at home. It's going to allow me as I go down to sink into a slightly greater range of motion. So now I'm adding more range of motion at the ankle into the mix. This places the calf in a slightly stretched position. Very good from a running standpoint, because as we strike the ground, our foot is planted, our body comes over the foot, we get into dorsiflexion. This helps us develop a little bit more range of motion and resiliency in the calf and the Achilles as we're in that more stretched position. So just to see what this looks like, ball of the foot, same principles, right? Ball of the foot is still on the edge of the platform or the stair. I have a little bit more motion. I'm not going to force this motion. That's where people get into trouble. A lot of people can go through the motion, do fine getting all the way up to the top. They come down and we really crank on the calves. You need to respect how much range of motion you have here. Get into a position where you get a light stretch through the calf and the Achilles, but don't force it, right? We don't want to force anything in terms of motion. Your body's going to tell you what's what and what's enough, but we don't need to force it and get more just to get more. That's what we have other mobility drills and things for. So slight stretch at the calf as I come down, and then driving all the way up, getting a good range of motion throughout that calf raise. See, I'm still holding on. I'm not pulling myself in any way, but I'm leaning forward so I have something to support me. So I recommend if you're in the staircase, the wall's next to you, lean forward against the wall, or something like this. You could actually just go at a steeper angle, right? I'm starting in a stretched position, and I'm going this. Even though I'm not standing on something, I'm still mimicking that additional range of motion that the step will provide. So that's the calf raise from a deficit. One thing that you're going to start to see with a lot of people with the calf raise, and you might notice it yourself, is as I go through the motion, sometimes if the calves are weak, instead of keeping the knees straight, is going to be a tendency to, I see almost people, there's like this double motion going on. They start to lift up, they bend the knees, and then they straighten. They're unable to keep the knees fully straight going through the calf raise. So you want to try to keep the knees straight, isolate the calf and the ankle, and come back down. If you notice at all anytime that those knees really want to bend and then straighten as you come up, we know we have some weakness there that we want to really work on. So making sure your repetitions fit your level or degree of strength. Don't do 20 just to do 20. Can you do 8 very well? then go to 10 the next week, then go to 12, 14, 16, and progress up as you go, and really get better at this through over a couple of months rather than rushing the process and compensating. So that is the calf raise and the calf raise from a deficit. Two very simple but effective exercises, really the foundation for the strength at your calf, Achilles, and foot. So if you have any lower leg issues, any foot issues, this could be a very simple entry point to load those in a very easy way. Start with a single set, go to 2 sets, go to 3 sets, build your repetitions up from 10 to 30, and then go to some of your other harder single leg variations. If you have any questions about the calf raise or the calf raise from deficit, which was the exercise of the week this week, feel free to reach out, drop some questions below, and I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you.